Hello, it's Claire from Come Back Brighter. So I'm talking to you today about the ways in which we betray ourselves and we betray other people due to the influence of a narcissist. So I've been thinking about this recently is how much kind of my husband just how much he put up with when it came to how my father treated him and and how much I kind of compromised my husband for my father so much. Um, and that was wrong. My father was still my priority. That's really important to say. My father was still my priority because what the narcissist wants is they want to ensure that they are still your priority. So they will do things. They will set you up in ways to confirm that you are still the number one. And one of the ways in which my father did it, and my husband also came from not a great family, let's just say, so he didn't necessarily know that this wasn't right or normal. But what my father would often do is he would often find something to have a joke about somebody else with, and I say joke in air quotes because it really wasn't funny, and it was bullying, I suppose. And what would happen is he would start this joke about somebody, okay? And it wouldn't be funny to the person who was the target of that joke. But what he'd do is he'd draw everybody else into the joke as well, okay? And that was the times when I felt the worst, when my desire to please my father, my desire to win his favor, my desire to be in his good books was greater than um, my love or my respect or my care for the person who was the target of those jokes. So this reminds me of something that another family member did. This family member, he had nicknames for everybody. Okay. And I kind of made the assumption that these nicknames, because he'd known these people for a long time, were kind of affectionate, um, like nicknames that the person knew about. Okay. So for example, there was a guy that he dealt with who was apparently like rather overweight, and this person would call him Twiggy, as in like being sarcastic, I don't know, but unpleasant, nasty, because he wasn't a twig at all. Okay. He was overweight. And I made the assumption that this was like a kind of bantering kind of nickname between the two of them because they were buddy buddies and all the rest of it. But actually, it wasn't. All these nicknames were made behind people's backs. And like I say, I made the assumption it was all good natured. But actually, every single one of them, there was not a single pleasant nickname that he had for somebody. Okay. They were all derogatory in one way or another. Something about their character, something about the way they looked, something about just all of them really. And he had nicknames for everybody that he knew. I don't like to think what his nickname was for me. Um, but whatever, that's the way it is. Um, but but the thing is that was strange is I didn't know most of the people that he was talking about. But that going along and calling, because he would never call them by their right name, he would only ever call them by their nickname. But now it feels like a betrayal that I also called these people by their nicknames because they didn't know, and it was bitchy and horrible and unpleasant, and they would have probably been really upset if they'd known that was what he called them. So that and it is our choice. The thing is, we've got to accept responsibility for the fact that we make that choice to go along with the narcissist nastiness. We make that decision to have jokes at other people's expense and to join in and encourage it, or to call people like horrible nicknames behind their back, or whatever it is that we do. We make the decision to do that, and there's something awful about that. There's something really uncomfortable about the fact that, like, you know, I'm an adult, I make my own decisions. So whenever I joined in with the joke against my husband, or whoever it was, okay, didn't have to always be my husband, it could have just been somebody else. Every time I joined in, I wasn't doing it because I was a child and I had to survive. I was going back into that pattern of I want to please dad. I want to keep him happy. I want to win favor with him. I want to be in his good books. I was still in that, even though I was an adult and I was independent. I had, no ties to him whatsoever. I was still in that desire to please him to my own detriment. And that's awful. That's awful. And I can think of other times when with other narcissistic people that I've known, when I've done a similar kind of thing where I haven't felt good about it, but because like the narcissist who's the one in charge is doing it and they're kind of goading me, I will I will go along with it because I want to win that person's favor, but I won't be so concerned about the target of that joke that isn't funny, the target of that, I don't know, just unpleasantness. And so I think it's important to take responsibility for it's not like the narcissist is our like puppet master pulling the strings and making us open our mouths and say the things we do or laugh with them when we laugh with them and all the things we do. They don't do that. We choose that. And that's why I'm so pleased to be free of it now, because if anyone does that, then it's a massive red flag. Have this real big thing now about teasing and about jokes at other people's expense. So as far as I'm concerned, teasing is only acceptable if the other person is laughing too. And a joke at somebody else's expense is only acceptable if they're laughing about it too. But sincerely, not like they're going, oh, laugh, 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 and really you can tell that they're upset. So I think it's important to mention that the way that the narcissist behaves, and sometimes we're like complicit in it, and it's all based in trying to win their favor, trying to be safe, trying to be in their good books, wanting to look. Because the other thing as well, it's often like the narcissist and a group of people around them targeting one person. So it's not necessarily just about the like an individual, the narcissist themselves. It's the whole group of people. So like in the narcissistic family, in that setup, it's the narcissist and the family against the scapegoat. And occasionally I have been on the other side when I've been one of the narcissist group targeting whoever is the narcissist scapegoat at that time. And like I say, at times that's been my husband. At times that would have been my brother. And I hated it. But my desire to win favor with the narcissist was greater than my own feelings of what was right or wrong, my own values, and my own upset at causing hurt to somebody else. So it would be so easy just to go, well, it's all the narcissist's fault, it's all their fault, and blame them entirely. But we do go along with it. We do these things, and we do these things because we want to feel more comfortable, because we want to feel more secure, because it's difficult to be the one that stands out and says, no, this is not right. It's really difficult. But when you're raised in that environment, it becomes normal. So I think it's important here to mention as well that there is something called narcissistic fleas. And that is the traits that we pick up from having been involved with a narcissist. So that can be kind of like it could be anything. I think some of mine are like impatience and kind of but that's the only one I can think of at the moment, actually. Some like being judgmental, like gossiping. These are all things that I've struggled with in the past, and I realize that it comes from coming from a toxic family. But it's not, the thing is about those behaviors is they don't feel comfortable, they don't feel right. You don't feel good when you behave in those ways, and that's telling you that it's not your natural character. That's telling you that this is a behavior that you've picked up to survive, basically. Because if you didn't in some ways mold and change yourself and put aside your values and your I don't know, like preferences and join in. You may not have actually survived your childhood with a narcissistic parent. So much, this goes real deep. But the thing is, you can work on those traits once you've recognized them. First of all, do they feel uncomfortable? If it feels uncomfortable, then there's something not right there. There's something that's telling you that this is not a natural behavior for you. Okay. And then recognizing it is the first big step. That's massive, because you go, oh, that didn't make me feel very comfortable. So what was off about that? Oh, I didn't like that because I was saying that thing, and joining in, although I could see that she was getting upset. And then you feel like, well, how would I do that differently in the future? And that's when it's kind of like it all starts to sort itself out. It doesn't necessarily need any specific effort on your part, but it's when you can recognize those uncomfortable feelings and see that it's a trait and see that it's something you can change. Because the narcissist will tell you will never change. The narcissist will tell you that you will always be the way you are, because that keeps you stuck. And you can work through anything if you're willing to put in the effort, if you're willing to be self-aware, if you're willing to think about how things make you feel and make changes, and if you're willing to admit you're wrong and apologize. Now that's where the narcissist saying you won't ever change is actually then projecting that they will never change, because they will never look at their behaviors and reflect and be self-aware and change and take responsibility. So that's my video for today. If you need me, please reach out to me, Clare, Clare, comebackbrighter @gmail.com.